If you or somebody you love has MS, have you ever thought about using cannabis to treat some of the symptoms? Today we're going to talk about it. Welcome back to Discover Marijuana. I'm here with Josh Fitzgerald, a clinical pharmacist and cannabis expert. We're talking about MS today, and one of the things that we talk a lot about with cannabis therapy and cannabinoid therapy is whether or not the cannabis treatment is actually treating the underlying condition or whether it's treating the symptoms of that condition. MS is a good example of a condition where cannabis isn't going to cure it. It's masking symptoms, it's treating the pain associated with MS and the muscle spasticity, but really doesn't seem like we're getting anywhere with the disease process itself.
No, like you said, cannabis isn't going to help reverse anything, but it's definitely going to help them and improve their quality of life to be able to function somewhat normally and mitigate some of the muscle spasticity and the pain that comes along with it.
Yeah, I think it's important to know when patients are coming to talk to us that we're setting those expectations. We always talk about coming to the pharmacy or coming to your provider with a condition, and then working with that provider to set expectations on what benefits you might get from the cannabis therapy, especially when it comes to picking cannabinoids and terpene profiles for the condition and like what we want to treat. So when you see patients with MS, what types of symptoms are you really trying to treat?
So they're going to be having a lot of muscle spasms and a muscle pain. A little bit of nerve pain goes into that too, but mainly we're treating the muscle pain section of it and giving them some freedom of mobility within those muscles. So we're hoping to focus on getting them more mobile in what they can do with less pain, and the more mobile they can be, usually the better off they are.
THC seems to be that's what comes to mind for the muscle pain and the muscle spasticity. There's just good evidence that it really helps with this chronic pain and chronic muscle spasms. Do you find that there's a place for CBD too?
Definitely a place for CBD. CBD has really good muscle relaxant properties to it in itself. And so when we can pinpoint some of those CB2 receptors in our periphery and in our muscles, it definitely will help. And THC acts on those sites, and CBD will help in those sites too. When
we talk about, so we're going to use THC and CBD in combination.
Mm-hmm.
Are we using tinctures? Are we using flower? What is the sky the limit?
So yes, with MS, you can use pretty much everything, and that's the beauty of cannabis is we've got so many different options to choose from. We tell people, start with tinctures and see how tinctures work for you, and helping as needed times during the day, using the tinctures to pinpoint those. You can use flower, you can use vape carts with that too. We have strains that are applicable for muscle pain, and we also have creams that we can use too to help in certain areas that are having problems. So there's different options to use for sure. Edibles are great in MS patients. One, they have a hard time sleeping at night. They really can't relax those muscles at night. Some of our gummies help people do that. They help them sleep and relax those muscles.
Do you have a favorite strain or a favorite product that you tend to recommend?
One of our better ones here is Blue Dream that we kind of lean upon in those situations. One that's got really good muscle relaxant properties to it, but it's also got a little bit of that neural help that kind of just takes away that pain. The Delta 9 that's in there is going to help with the pain receptors too.
So when it comes to MS, like we talked about, we're not really treating the underlying condition. Unfortunately, we haven't found the answer.
We're just improving their quality of health and quality of life.
But if patients can do what they want to do during the day with cannabis, and especially instead of another pain medication or another muscle relaxant that has worse negative side effects, I think that it's a reasonable option for patients with MS.
I think so too. We've seen a lot of success with people that have come in and been able to use cannabis, and stop some of their medications that they've been using, but honestly, it just gives them more freedom in their lives to do what they want to do, the mobility to go and do the things they want to do.
Sure. I think that when we talk about MS and we talk about like tips and tricks or temperatures and strain choices, I go into, with my patients, we talk about keeping a journal because there's so many different varieties of products to get from the pharmacies, keeping a journal seems to be a very good way for people to, over time, figure out what's working. We know that you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, and cannabis might not be able to affect all of that all at once. But over time, if we can get 10% better quality of life.
Yep. And you'll see patterns too. And as you use cannabis and the different methods, if you keep this journal, you're going to see, oh, on this day I used this and I was feeling a lot better. On this day I was using this and I don't feel quite as good. Having that reference point and being able to track patterns, you're going to be able to pinpoint and fine tune your therapy a little bit better to suit, your disease state and specifically MS, definitely.
Do you like flower versus vape with MS?
It doesn't really matter in my opinion. You're still getting the same strain. No, I don't see a big difference in that. You can, with flower, manipulate the temperature a little bit more, and you can pinpoint some of the Delta 9 if you want it, or even going back to the lower cannabinoids in the temperature range. That might be an option, might not be at the same time.
If you have somebody that you know with MS and you found a product or a strain or delivery method that works for them and works for you, comment below. And we would love to hear your stories about MS. MS is something that we need more research about. We need to compare cannabis to other medications. And so we're always interested in your stories.